I don't understand how it's possible for brand new Christmas lights to come out of the box already tangled. But here we are. In this video, I'm going to have a look and see whether Christmas lights like this can be used to be the brightest light in your images. I might well mix them together with regular LED lights as well, and hopefully we'll try some creative lighting ideas along the way. But none of that's going to happen until I've done one really important thing, and that is detangle these lights, which is going to take a while. So whilst I'm doing that, you should be, well, clicking on the subscribe button, if nothing else. Whilst I get a light set, let's get a model in, let's get shooting. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe's going to be the model for this photo session, and she's also in charge of detangling the lights. She doesn't know that yet. The first thing we need to deal with is actually those Christmas lights, because they are the dimmest lights in this whole setup. They're the ones I can't make any brighter, which means actually making this room as dark as I can reasonably make it by turning the lights off like this. It's not completely blacked out in here, which is what I would actually like, because we still need to film a video. However, I can now take a picture at my camera settings, which I've dialed in as 1/100th of a second, f1.4 to let plenty of light in, ISO 400. Obviously Chloe is really dark in that picture, so I'm going to turn this on, which is just a cheap ring light. We'll leave gear links in the video description, and that's going to put some light on Chloe. But notice the colour. I've set this ring light, which is bi-colour, to closely match the colour of the Christmas lights. So yeah, we've got some good light on Chloe, we've got some blurry Christmas lights in the background, but if I want real blur, I'm not going to get it from the background. I'm going to get it from in front. I've got a second set of the same lights that are in the background because they look really nice, and these I'm going to use for my foreground to get that foreground blur or foreground bokeh. There's no scientific way of doing this, it's just arrange them in a rough and ready kind of way and photograph through the gap that they create. It's no more complicated than that, but there is something to bear in mind, because when you get close to a light source, it becomes that much brighter. So I need to think a little bit about that, but there's not much I can do. I can't control the brightness. It is what it is. It should, however, give us a bit of lens flare, and that is what I'm hoping is going to make this feel really festive. Because if I come here and just photograph through the gap, compared to where we were, we suddenly have these beautiful glowing lights in the foreground that are completely blurry. There's no magic to this. It really is trial and error. So I think what we need to do is do some trial and error in a photo session. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Let's take some photos like this. To be honest, you get so much blur at the front, I probably don't need that f1.4 aperture, but I'm using it so I can maintain a reasonably good shutter speed and a reasonably low ISO. For our second look with Christmas lights, my Christmas lights are going to do something different. They're actually going to be not only part of the picture, but they're going to be the main light on Chloe. And to make that work, I've shoved them all in a jar. Yep, a jar full of Christmas lights. Hopefully that's going to be enough exposure on Chloe if she holds it close to her face to light her up. I've also got some extra lights, but let's do one light at a time and see how they work. Once again, we're going to need to turn the room lights off, and then we can actually get going with the photography. So I'm at the same settings. In fact, the only thing I have changed, I've increased my ISO a little bit to 800 because they're not particularly bright, these lights. And if Chloe just holds them up like that, we get quite a nice picture. I mean, we're looking at the light on the front of Chloe at the moment, and as you can see, that isn't bad for some low-cost Christmas lights. One thing I would like to change is the light on the back of Chloe. I'd like a little bit of an edge light or a rim light. Now, I could go and get a proper light and set it all up, but look, I've got these LEDs hanging up Christmas lights, and they're going to be the edge light. Now, these are not bright lights. They're a fair distance away from Chloe, relatively speaking, but they should just give me a little something. Absolutely no idea if they will or not, so let's find out with a quick test photo. Yeah, now we've got a little bit of light down Chloe's back and on her hair, but she is rather disappearing into that black background. You'll notice this isn't the same background as before. We had grey paper before, and now I've just hung up a black piece of fabric, but it's not completely black. There's texture, or at least a slight pattern to it, and I want to bring that into the image. So I've lit it, otherwise you won't see it, using the same ring light that we were using before to light Chloe. Now, lighting black, you need quite a lot of light. These little Christmas lights wouldn't really cut it, so that is kind of essential and at full power. Not that it's particularly powerful, but let's see if that just adds a little bit of a glow around the back of Chloe. And all in all, this is starting to look pretty good. So I think there's only a couple of fine-tuning things I want to do, and I'm going to do those as we go through the photo session, because that jar of lights is surprisingly heavy. So Chloe, are you ready? Right, let's take a few photos like this. Using Christmas lights to actually light your subject has a bunch of downsides. One of them is you can't control the brightness, unlike the ring light. If I need more light on the back of Chloe, I just move her closer to those lights behind her. For the third and final look with our Christmas lights, I'm going to combine the first two pictures together to a certain degree with a bit of a twist. And the twist is down on the floor, not Chloe, but what she's against, which is shiny surface. In this case, it's a couple of black glossy floor tiles. They're going to act like a bit of a mirror. You could even use a mirror to reflect the light from the jar. Now, once again, I need to turn the room lights down as much as I reasonably can, like this. There we go. I'm going to come down to the same level as Chloe, so I maximize my reflection. Just requires one little change. Pretty sure I said it was Chloe's job to detangle these, but I'm gonna do the work anyway. And I brought in the ring light. Now this is gonna light Chloe's face from the edge, and it's gonna simulate the light from our jar of Christmas lights, because although those are probably just about bright enough, it's the direction that they're coming from. It's a little bit below Chloe, and this is just gonna add a little bit of top light to fill that in. And it just looks a little bit more realistic. And that's really all there is to this setup. So Chloe, are you ready? Okay, let's take a few photos like this. Now I can skip the whole ring light part completely by getting the light to come from above Chloe's face, and the easiest way to do that is to turn her over and get her to hold the jar, but not for too long because it really is quite heavy. I'll be honest, I don't think I'm ever going to untangle these lights, which probably isn't that much of a surprise. But to answer my earlier question, can Christmas lights be the brightest light in your images? Absolutely, yes, they can. Would you like to do it on a regular basis? No, I think I'll stick to normal lights, but occasionally doing something creative is so much fun. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or you've got any questions, leave me a comment down below. Click on the thumbs up button, click the subscribe button, and let me know what creative ideas have you come up with Christmas lights. And if you need some inspiration, then why not check out this video where we spend an hour, Chloe and I, doing a whole bunch of creative ideas with Christmas lights. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.